Hello everyone and welcome back to Timetable 5, where we are continuing to look at the revamped Köln to Aachen timetable, which as of this moment is still limited to Steam players. Today we are running an RB38 service from Köln Hauptbahnhof to Horum, and we are in the RB38 off of the Timetable DLC, which is a... I think it's a variant of the Siemens Desiro family, which is very different from the Desiros you get in the UK, which are I think those are the UK family. Let me see. So this pretty simple to set this thing up. So this is not, it's not realistic to see a 642 here, but it's the closest thing we've got to the BR620, which is used on this line, or was used, I can't remember which, on this line in real life. Let me see, is there a panel for like CIFA and PZB somewhere around here? Oh, PZB mode is good, CIFA is on. Where's PZB isolation? Gotta be here somewhere. I don't really... I'll just use the keyboard shortcut. There we go. Let me just run across the list of switches here. This, since the 642 originally came out with the Timetable DLC, it actually has been updated with dynamic suspension. So it's one of the few trains that you can use on this route that has dynamic suspension. There's an RE1 service coming in to Regional Express from Aachen. At least I think it's one from Aachen. Yeah. Köln is now far busier with the with all of these trains heading in and out. There's a Dosto cab car coming in and a New Journeys 423. What's the locomotive? Camera. Yeah, it's a BR146. You can also see the BR111s running those services. Come on, drone camera. Alright, next stop, Köln Ehrenfeld in 3.1 kilometers. Apologies for the low frame rate. Quite a few trains in this area means low frame rate. Because my computer's not exactly the best in the business anymore. Oh, should probably get the wiper on. Yeah. Trouble is, because the 642 is originally intended for routes with the TOD4 lighting, i.e. post-Timetable 3 lighting, that does mean that the headlights are, all of the lights and cab lights are far too powerful. Yeah, as you can see, dynamic suspension doing its thing. Yeah, 20 frames per second is normal on my computer. Alright, no LZB, so I have to do things the old-fashioned way, i.e. with throttle and brake. I do admit the sounds on the 642 are pretty decent. It's only one of 3 German DMUs in the game. After the 612 that came with the Dresden to Chemnitz route, and the 628 which comes with the Niedertalbahn. Of which the 628 is by far the best. I absolutely love the 628. The 642 is not bad, but it's not what I would drive. It's not what I normally drive. I normally prefer to drive the 642 if I have, 628 if I have any other option. Is there an intermittent control on this thing? Yeah, there is. There we go. Here we go. Acknowledge. Acknowledge! Okay, here we go. Looks as though we do have a bit of a red signal in a bit, so I'll put the brakes on. Alright, Elza B would start now if we had access to Elza B. Oh, why do we have a red signal? This never happened on the... I must admit, this never happened on the old timetable because there are so few services, nothing got in the way of each other. Oh, there goes an Ice 1 coming in from the north. Nice. Maybe below 65. Yeah. Yeah, frame rate has gotten better now that we're out of the Köln area. Köln, Ettenfeld, and Horem are the destinations today. Are the station stops today. So it's a relatively quick service. Not like something using the 623 or any, sorry, 423, not 623. What am I even saying? Alright. Beans, beans, beans. The 642 is not particularly powerful at high speeds, so it does feel quite underpowered on this section of line. What's that noise? Huh. Alright. 1 kilometer to Köln, Ettenfeld. Horem is about halfway along the high-speed section, and so about a quarter of along the route. 642 is a relatively easy piece of kit to drive, but it's not exactly the... It's not my... As I've said before, it's not exactly my favorite. Alright. It's a bit too modern for my taste. I prefer something retro and difficult to drive. There's a 185. Don't have the Skyhook 187 because that thing's terrible. I prefer, even though the 185 is one of the most recycled trains in the game, I do prefer seeing that to the 187. Because the 187 is, ooh, I'm so glad I don't have that. Absolutely, an absolute piece of junk. Like, I mean, the exterior visuals are good, but other than that, it's an absolute turd in terms of quality. Skyhook did a really terrible job with that. Alright, stopped on the spot. Alright. Got 1 minute to load up the old passengers. See what I meant about headlights being far too powerful? That's without the high beams turned on. If I turn the high beams actually on, if I turn the high beams on, which you're not supposed to do, it's completely blinding is what it is. Only time I would use high beam is if I was on Timetable at night, because there would be no trains coming from the opposite direction. So, wonder what this cargo service is. Oh, there's a 423 heading to Blankenberg. This one is... oh, it just says portal out. Okay. Yeah. Oh, and then there's a high-speed service, the Aachen to Ham West, which is another RE1 service. Should that be stopping here? Yeah. Right. Next stop, Horem, in 15 kilometers, which is our last stop of the day. Full throttle. Oh. Another 146. That's annoying. Alright. I could just put this thing to full throttle because after 100 kilometers an hour, this thing gets so... this thing's acceleration gets so slow that basically takes ages to get it up to top speed. Does it say where a VMAX is? 120 kilometers an hour. Okay. But I'm actually cleared beyond that. One thing I do like about the 642 is it's quirky. It's a very unique design, and it also in the center, it has these really, like, massive panoramic windows, which you don't really see in any other train. It's very odd. It's very quirky, and I do like it for that. See what I meant about acceleration tailing off? Oh, acceleration tailing off. We've got 8.5 minutes to cover 13 kilometers. Yeah, I could do that. Simple. We're not getting routed onto the fast tracks. Actually, no. These aren't the fast tracks. These are the fast tracks, because these lines merge up. Can I open the windows, I wonder? Nah, I don't think they're the windows are designed to be open at speed. Another thing I do like about the 642 is it's quite quiet in comparison to the older 628. At least on the inside. Alright. We've officially reached our top speed of 120 kilometers an hour, but I want to see how much further this thing can go without breaking the physics. Oh, that's where we're stopping. One of the side platforms that doesn't really get used. I do like dynamic suspension. I do think it can be a bit too powerful at times, but I do think it is a very welcome addition to the immersion. There's actually been, as of recording, there's actually been some very funny train news on the Tokaido bullet train line in Japan, which goes between the two major cities Tokyo and Osaka, which is like the first like proper purpose-built high-speed line ever. All trains between multiple trains were stranded and hundreds of services were cancelled after a snake wrapped itself around a power coil and shorted the entire electrical system out for between two major stations, namely Maibara and Gifu Hashima. Needless to say, the snake was completely fried after having thousands of volts go through it, but and what's very funny is this actually has happened before. In 2009, a snake did exactly the same thing on a section of line between Tokyo and Fukushima, which is like, man, that's so weird. Like, I've heard of electrical problems on railways, like for example the massive power outage in Spain and Portugal caused thousands of passengers to be stranded, and multiple high-speed trains were completely stopped a few days ago, as of recording of course. But I've never heard of a snake causing a power outage on this kind of scale before. Alright, it looks as though we have to slow down. Give 50% on the old brakes. I think this thing does have dynamic brakes. Yes, it does. Okay, we've got 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Oh, come on! Just because I didn't... Alright, override. Override. Come on. Well, I've got no power now. I've got no power. Do the brakes work? Yes. Okay, that's interesting. That's annoying. Alright. Coming off the main line. This is also one of the terminus points for the S-Bahn Köln line. But there are services that do continue on. Acknowledge. Just because I was just 2 kilometers above the speed limit, it gave me put the emergency brakes on. How's that fair? Come on, buddy. Slow you down. Right. I've never actually visited this section before, because normally I'm on the main line. And I don't think this section was accessible in the old timetables because we didn't have a DMU. Stop! Oh my goodness, what an overshoot. At least we're still within the platform area. Alright, let's override. There we go. Wait for a moment. I don't think we're actually supposed to open the doors at this platform. Platform 19! That's a high number for a small regional station. Alright. Let's have a look around this area. Oh, and a drone camera stuck in the bridge. Awesome. There we go. And then there's another section over here. Oh. Oh, there we go. Platinum medal. Nice. So that'll be all for this video, everyone. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.